Hello, wealthy family, and welcome to today's Mindset Monday. Thank you so much for coming and sharing some time with me. I love and appreciate you all. So, today's Mindset Monday, we are talking about why some people succeed, right? What is their secret to success, and why some people call it quits, why they throw in a towel, why they're like, you know what, F this, right? It all, as you know, boils to the mentality. But what is your mentality? Where is your mentality striving from? Where is it growing from? A lot of the times when we do things because we want to see something different, do something we've always dreamed about doing, whatever the case may be, when we move in this arena of newness, right? And we require a little extra motivation or a little extra push, most of the time we're operating from our ego. Yes. And our ego is not a bad thing. The only thing is, our ego, although it's always developing, it begins its development when we're young, between ages 2 to 4. You're a child, okay? Then you have your super ego that develops when you're about 5 or 6. Now, these things are developed to help you recognize that you are a separate individual, you have separate experiences, and all those experiences that you go through help shape your ego. You then create your ego to help protect you from experiencing certain things that don't make you feel good. Your ego is meant to be your built in best friend and meant to guide you on certain things. But a lot of the time, we only have our ego for that because in our society, as we evolve, as we grow, as we shift, as we change, a lot of parents don't have time to sit down and really develop their children. So their children are developing their ego based off the experiences that they see on TV, on social media, in video games, maybe family members that do have time, but why do they have the time? Is it because they're in, they have certain behaviors that allows them to be kind of carefree? Are they older and now they don't have as much responsibilities? A lot of times when we fall on these family members or we allow other family members to insert themselves in our children's life because we as parents may be too busy, they may not be inputting the best influence. And then as we grow up, as children grow up and become adults, they're still in this ego that was developed in their adolescence, and they keep feeding that portion of them. So now when they're teenagers, they're still running on an ego paradigm that was built between the ages of 2 and 7. So now you're a teenager going into a young adult, and you're still operating off the same mainframe of when you were younger. Now, the thing with that is, most of the time when you're younger, when you want certain things, you can get it rather quickly because you're a child. If you don't get it rather quickly, then most of the time it's a no, right? There's no really stipulation or mandate that people are going to put on a child to say you have to work hard to get this or you got to motivate yourself. Most of the time, the motivation comes from the reward aspect. So the parent or the caregiver may say, if you do this thing, then I'll give you this thing. You wash your dishes, I'll give you $2. You sweep the floor, you get an extra 10 minutes of video games. You get all straight A's, I'll take you to the theme park, or whatever the case may be. And now you grow up as an adult waiting for that same energy to be fed in adulthood. And that's not the way it works. So now you're motivated to do something different. Let's just say exercise, right? Because that's me right now. 1 second. That's me right now. I've never really had any focused, concentrated exercise regimen. Growing up in Miami, I used to walk a lot, especially as Jehovah's Witness. Used to walk a lot, always in shape. Even after my first set of babies, right? For those who don't know, I've had 3 children. Their ages now today is 22, 20, and 18. So I had them when I was younger in Miami. My license was revoked, and I in Miami. So who gives a fuck? So I was still driving, but after like my third arrest. I was like, I can't keep going to jail behind this dumb shit. So I stopped and started being a law-abiding citizen and took the bus and walked everywhere. But that kept me in shape. As when I moved out of Miami and got my license, I moved to Central Florida where I am now. Got my license, got a car, kind of not walking as much anymore. So now that I have my 2 year old, I'm like, okay, I gotta get in a space. And I do a lot of readings, and I realize that I hold a lot of energy after my readings. So exercising outside of my yoga practices, exercising helps me. It helps me dissipate that energy, helps me get flexible, it helps me keep my breath up, right? So now that I'm doing this, and this is something I've never had to do, my ego is like, fuck this, right? This is painful. It's uncomfortable. What results are you seeing? You still can't even do the hand flip. You know, when you put your hands behind your back and then you roll them up, and I still can't quite get that together, right? So my ego is like, girl, stop. Right? You're not getting immediate results. Even though it's only been 2, maybe 3 months, my ego is like, yeah, enough, right? But I'm drawing my motivation. The road that I'm on is not to see immediate results, is to see gradual. I've already trained myself to say, you know what? I'm doing this exercise because I want to be more flexible. I want to have less like condensed energy. And I see that. But a lot of the times people go about things with a microwave mentality again from the younger stage. I do this thing, I get this thing, right? They may be looking at someone to draw inspiration. There's nobody's body type that I want. I know where I want to get to, and that's it. But sometimes, and this is a good thing, there's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes people look at other individuals, especially with social media everywhere, and you have all these examples. If I was to go through social media, I have some people I follow that are really into fitness, and I said, I want my body to look like her. You know, I want my body to look like him. I want to be able to lift how much he can. I want to be able to run as fast as she can. And after a couple of months, I'm like, wait, I can't do that yet. It drops the motivation. I now get discouraged and I give up, right? That's why January 17th, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is National Quitters Day, because people set all these resolutions on January 1st, and within 2 freaking weeks, they don't see any change, and they're like, yeah, fuck it, I'm done, I quit, because I'm not getting any instant results. But when you're moving from a space of why, from your own personal why, from your own personal reasons, your motivation is always with you. A lot of people quit because they're looking for motivation from outside. No one can motivate you. All those motivational speeches and motivational videos that you see on YouTube, they sound good, but after those 10 minutes of after you watch it and the 5 minutes that you retain in your brain, most of the time, that's it. That's why you have to constantly watch these things, and people are constantly going to these seminars for motivation and self-help, because they hear it for a moment, they feel good, they get electrified off of it, and then it wanes, it falls off, because their ego is like, that's not you, that can't happen. You know, you're drawing this motivation from an outside source. So those people that draw the motivation from the inside, they can stick through it thick and thin. When the get tough gets when the when shit gets tough, they get going, right? They stick with it. They don't get discouraged because they know, okay, I'm doing this for this. I'm doing this for me. Even if I don't see the results immediately right now, I know I still am gathering them. I know I still will be getting results, right? If you keep track, if you progress, if you keep track of the progress that you're making. That's another thing a lot of people don't do. They don't keep track of their progress. And because they're not keeping track of their progress, whether written progress, photographic, mental, or something, saying, this is what I did, this is how far I've accomplished, most of the time they lose sight of how far they've come. They've lost sight of what what all they have actually progressed with. So for me, with my exercise regimen, like I said, that arm measuring thing, that's my I don't know how to describe it. When you clasp your hands behind your back and then you kind of roll them up, That's what I want to do. I want to see how far I can roll my hands up. And every day I do it just to see how much more elastic I've stretched my muscles, how much more stretch I've gotten into it. That's my little measurement, right? Every week I take pictures just so I have that photographic diary. And I'm drawing that motivation for me within myself. But a lot of people, even let's say outside of exercise, let's say someone opens a business or a restaurant, and they're like, "This is the best restaurant ever. It's the best idea ever. We're in a place where we need it. I'm gonna help all these people that don't have this type of thing in their neighborhood, and it's gonna be great." And when you're thinking of doing things with a certain demographic or a certain thought process of what other people are going to do and how much value they're going to find, but you are going about it in a way where you're still kind of hesitant, you're unsure, or you're trying to lock out other people, so you're putting yourself in a box. And I'm not just talking about black owned businesses and they're like, I'm doing this for black people, which is good because we as black people, we do need a lot of help because of the trauma that we're carrying on. But when you go in and you say, I'm doing this for this certain demographic type of person, you're boxing out all these other potentials. And then within a year or two, those individuals that you're like, oh, they're going to love it, they're going to come through, and they don't come through and assist you. Now your business is failing. Now you have no motivation. Now you got to close the doors. Now you feel like a failure. When it all just stemmed from the mindset, instead of saying, okay, I'm catering to this demographic of people, this is who's going to come through, this who's really going to show out and support me, just leave yourself open. Provide a service for all people. A lot of time people fail in their motivation, or they give up on certain dreams because they are not allowing themselves to have the wherewithal and the thought process of being open and allowing things for everyone to come through. And they be whining like how my cat is, right? They be crying and whining. Like, why did this happen to me? I just want to help people. But just allow yourself to provide a service to everyone. When you provide a service that is necessary and needed by all people, you really open yourself up to all people. And sometimes it surprises you. When I started Ascending Infinite Goddess, I most definitely had a demographic. I know the people that I want to reach. I know the clients that I want to touch, but I don't limit it to a certain demographic. I always leave it open for the mindset. This is, the type of person I want to connect with. This is the type of person that I can help the most, right? So, in order to stay motivated and not give up, not be a quitter, draw your motivation from yourself. Do not limit yourself. Have a general consensus, but allow your services or the things that you desire to reach all people, because you don't know everyone in the world, but there are certain types and personality types that fit in that muse, right? So don't limit yourself, and then don't operate from your ego. You do not want to operate from your ego, because your ego is a beautiful servant but a horrible master. And if you're allowing your ego to control you and dictate your moves, it's going to be a recipe for failure every time. So that is that, wealthy family. See, the sun is shifting as the shadows go. Cat's acting crazy. She ready to go inside. So I'm going to wrap that up. I love you all. I appreciate you all. I'm grateful for you all. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Thank you so much for rocking out with me. And until we connect again, stay alert, stay aware, and live in love.